Welcome back to the Agricoach Wealth and Wisdom podcast, the show for successful families who want more than just financial success. They want to grow their wealth, strengthen relationships, and leave a meaningful legacy. I'm Ben Law, the Financial Bloke, and I'm back with another solo mini episode. Short, sharp, and straight to the point. No guest, no fluff, just bite-sized insights to help you build a high-performing family, grow generational wealth, and stay aligned through it all. So, let's give this one a crack. Today I want to talk about something most high performers experience but never admit out loud, and that is something called the imposter syndrome. Now, if you've ever felt like a fraud, if like you're just one step away from being found out, even after you've achieved some really big goals, then you're not alone. In fact, the more successful you are, the more likely it is that you'll experience it. So, let's dig into why and what you can do to fix it. But if you're sitting there right now thinking that this imposter syndrome, it probably only affects inexperienced people who are just starting out. But here's the truth. The higher you climb, the more you feel like you shouldn't be there, or that you're a fake, a fraud, or someone will eventually find out you really don't deserve all that you've achieved. So how does this normally show up? Well, it shows up quietly, like this. Number one, you downplay your achievements. Usually I hear it along the lines of, I don't know, Ben, I just kind of got lucky. Number two, you feel like you don't deserve the success you've had. Number three, you keep chasing the next thing or the next goal, hoping it will finally make you feel legitimate. Number four, you're constantly afraid someone will realise you're not as smart, capable, or impressive as they think. Number five, the thrill of achieving a big result is then replaced by a rising sense of dread or unease thinking about the next goal. And number six, perfectionism. Everything has to be perfect or your version of perfect. Now, if this sounds familiar, if you're nodding, even just a tiny little bit, welcome to the club. The silent majority of high performers wrestle with this problem in the quiet moments between their wins. A bloody good example for me are these podcast minis. I've wanted to start recording these for about a year now, and I've re-recorded this exact episode more than once because it wasn't perfect. And I can tell you this one isn't perfect either. It's far from it. The imposter syndrome says to me, but if it's not perfect, what if people realise I'm not perfect? What if people judge me, etc.? This is the imposter syndrome absolutely at play. What I can tell you is that the imposter syndrome doesn't show up because you're weak. It shows up because you're normally playing a big game and taking risks and have big goals. So if you're suffering from the imposter syndrome, even slightly, well, I've got a few reasons why. Number one, you've usually built really high expectations and then made them your new bare minimum. What once felt like a huge win is now just par for the course and normal. Number two, you're normally surrounded by other high performers or people with big goals. And when your peers are successful, capable and driven, then comparison with them becomes like a silent thief, robbing you of your satisfaction in your own personal achievements. Number three, you tie your self-worth to your results. And what I mean by that is, if the business is flying and doing well, you feel great. If it's not, your identity takes a hit. And that roller coaster, especially in the rural world with droughts, floods, fires, is brutal. And number four, you rarely take the time to pause and enjoy success. Usually for high performers, they're always on to the next goal or the next milestone. And if you don't give yourself time to feel what you earned, nothing is ever going to seem enough. Now here's the twist. This isn't a personal flaw, it's a byproduct of excellence without reflection, and it can be exhausting if you don't basically address it. So, how do we actually fix this? Well, number one, you need to call out and name the narrative. The moment you say, Ben, that's just the imposter syndrome talking, it completely loses its power. Ask yourself, what evidence do I have that I'm actually unqualified? Or what evidence is there to show that I don't deserve what I've got? The other question you can ask yourself is, who decides what enough looks like and why am I trying to meet their standards? By turning the spotlight on that story you're telling yourself, you ultimately break the spell. Number 2, anchor in truth and track your wins. What I've seen a lot of high performers do is keep what I call a credibility file. It's just a private note on a journal or maybe even on your iPhone where you jot down your wins, any feedback you've got, any achievements or reasons or proof that you're not an imposter. And when that doubt creeps in, read it. Remind yourself that you didn't get here by accident or hard work alone. Number 3, stop chasing the finish line and redefine what enough looks like. The imposter syndrome thrives when there's no ceiling or you continually shift the goalposts. If every goal you hit immediately is replaced by a bigger one, you're never going to feel done. Instead, define what enough means to you, for your business, your family, or even your legacy. This doesn't mean lowering the bar. It means choosing intentional metrics that matter to you. Now, if you don't define success for yourself, the imposter syndrome is going to do it for you, and it will never be satisfied. Number 4, talk to someone who gets it, because the imposter syndrome festers in silence. And let's be honest, high performers often don't have a safe place to admit doubt or fear. That's why being part of a trusted community or a mastermind or an advisory board can be really critical. The right people remind you you're not alone, you're not broken, doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're human. And sometimes the fastest way out of your own head is a conversation with someone who's been there before. And finally, number 5, call fear, because a lot of the time this is rooted in fear. Call fear for what it is. False emotions appearing real. Fear is a sneaky bugger. It disguises itself quite often as logic, caution, and even humility. But most of the time, it's just noise. Remember? False emotion appearing real. Fear says things to you like, you're not ready, you're not as good as you think. What if you fail this time? What if someone finds out you're not as good as you thought you were? But fear rarely deals in facts. It usually deals in worst-case scenarios that very, very rarely happen. So the next time that inner voice kicks in, I want you to stop and ask yourself, what is the truth here? What's the actual evidence? Because we have to remember that high performers feel fear, they just don't let it run the show. Now, my final thoughts for this is, you don't overcome the imposter syndrome once and then it's all good. It takes practice. But every time you face it, you name it and you move through it, you grow mentally stronger. And that's the real win, not just achieving more, but owning who you really are. If this resonated with you, I want you to share it with someone you admire, because there's a good chance they might be carrying the same silent burden as you. And if you're part of a family business and want to go deeper into the inner game of leadership, alignment and legacy, head on over to agricoach.com.au. Well, I hope you enjoyed that podcast mini, hopefully the first of many, many to come. And until next time, I'm Ben Law, I'm the Financial Bloke. Keep growing, keep leading, and remember, who you are is far more important than what you've got. See you next time.